Amy Fleming has always been the heart of Heartland. Her strength, her love for horses, and her devotion to her family kept the ranch together through storms, grief, and tragedy. But now, something's changed. The trailer for the Heartland Season 19 finale has dropped, and fans are in shock. Blood on the ranch floor. A phone call that leaves Amy frozen, Lou screaming, Jack looking like he's about to fall apart. It's not just another finale. This could be the end. Amy's end. And the peaceful world of Heartland is about to crumble into chaos. What we're about to uncover will leave you speechless. Amy's life is in danger, and the truth behind it all is darker than anyone imagined. At first, everything seemed almost too perfect. After a season filled with healing and slow recovery, Amy finally appeared to be at peace. Her bond with Nathan was growing deeper, yet careful, not forced, not rushed. Ty's memory remained sacred, but Nathan's presence started bringing light back into Amy's eyes. Jack even joked that the old sparkle had returned to the Heartland kitchen. Lou was busy running for mayor again, Katie was focused on the horses, and Georgie's return had made everything feel right again. But in Heartland, peace never lasts, especially not when it's the calm before the storm. It started with a strange package. No return address, no message, just an old photo of Ty and someone else, someone none of them recognized. Amy was shaken, but she brushed it off. She thought maybe it was from a fan of Ty's veterinary work, but Jack didn't like it. He said something felt off, and he was right. Because that photo was a message, a warning, a quiet whisper from the past that the life Amy had rebuilt was about to collapse again. Days later, Amy received a phone call. Her face went pale. She didn't say a word, just walked out of the house and stood staring at the mountains. Lou followed her out, but Amy couldn't speak. That call changed everything. All we know is what Georgie later said in a hushed conversation with Katie. Whoever that was, they know things. About Ty, about the accident, about what really happened that day. This is where the tension starts to build, because now fans are asking the question, was Ty's death ever what it seemed? Did he really just get caught in the wrong place at the wrong time? Or was there something else, something more sinister behind it? The trailer hints at buried secrets, old enemies, and a threat that's not only targeting Amy emotionally, but physically. Someone is watching her, and they're not here for closure. They're here for revenge. The ranch, which once felt like the safest place in the world, suddenly seems vulnerable. Horses are spooked for no reason. Gates are left open. Amy wakes up one night to find the barn lights on, but no one's there. And in the shadows, something, or someone, is moving. This twist has fans in total disbelief. Heartland has always dealt with loss, grief, and healing. But this is different. This is danger. Real physical danger aimed directly at Amy. And as the trailer shows her collapsing in the dirt, blood on her hands, it becomes clear. This finale could end in the unthinkable. Could Amy really die? The reaction from fans has been explosive. Thousands are taking to social media, pleading with the writers not to take Amy from them. Some say it's all a bluff, an emotional trick to stir up drama. Others believe this is the show's way of closing the circle, giving Amy a tragic end to mirror Ty's. But one thing's certain, Amy is in real trouble. And if the trailer is telling the truth, we may be watching her final moments play out. In this final stretch of the season, every look, every conversation, and every step Amy takes feels heavier. There's a sense that time is running out, that something wicked is closing in. Heartland isn't just a family drama anymore, it's a ticking time bomb. And Amy's at the center of the blast. The phone call Amy received wasn't just a warning, it was a trigger, a crack in the foundation of everything she believed about Ty's passing. For years, she'd lived with the pain of losing him. A senseless tragedy, a random act of violence, something she could never explain to her daughter without feeling that gnawing guilt. But the voice on the other end of the line said something that shattered that story completely. It wasn't random, and Ty wasn't the target. Amy couldn't breathe after that. It echoed in her mind over and over. She replayed every memory of that day, every conversation she had with Ty before he left, every look he gave her when he said goodbye. Was there something he knew? Something he didn't tell her to protect her? The more Amy tried to ignore it, the more the truth clawed its way to the surface. She had to dig deeper. She had to know what really happened. And that's when she found the letters. Tucked away in a locked drawer in Ty's old desk, the letters were written in his handwriting. But they weren't meant for her. They were addressed to someone named David, a name Amy didn't recognize. The contents were vague, careful, almost coded. But one thing was clear. Ty was involved in something dangerous, something he had tried to walk away from before it caught up to him. Amy's hands trembled as she read one final line in the last letter. "If anything happens to me, tell Amy I did it all to keep her safe." It all made sense now. Too much sense. Ty had been protecting her, shielding her from something far bigger than a random shooting. And now that shadow had returned, not for Ty, but for Amy. That's when things around the ranch took an even darker turn. The horses started reacting violently, panicked as if sensing a threat. One of them, Spartan, nearly broke through a stall trying to escape. Amy knew something was terribly wrong. Then Caleb found tire tracks at the back of the property. Deep, fresh, and not from any of their vehicles. Someone had been watching, stalking, waiting. Lou begged Amy to go to the police, but Amy was hesitant. This wasn't just about fear. It was about family. She didn't want to put Lindy in danger. She didn't want to scare Jack or push Georgie away again. So she kept it inside, until it nearly cost her everything. The trailer flashes with images that speak louder than words. Amy running through the woods, blood on her shirt. Jack firing a shotgun into the night. Lou holding Lindy with tears streaming down her face. And worst of all, Amy lying motionless beside the river, her lifeless hand grasping the same photo that started it all. Fans are already calling it the darkest twist in Heartland's history. Some believe Amy's discovery will unravel a network of lies connected to Ty's past, a network that includes corruption, hidden enemies, and maybe even betrayal from someone close. Others fear that Heartland is preparing to close the chapter on Amy entirely, letting her go the same way it did Ty, with heartbreak, confusion, and pain. But there's also a theory, one that offers a sliver of hope. Some fans believe Amy faked her death, that the final moments of the trailer, with her lying still and covered in blood, are part of a plan, a way to draw out whoever is hunting her, a trap to protect her family. Could this be Amy's final stand? A sacrifice not of life, but of identity? As Amy digs deeper into Ty's past, she uncovers a name she never thought she'd hear again. Victor, a man Ty once worked with during his early days as a vet, whose shady ties to illegal animal trafficking got Ty in trouble before. Could Victor be the one behind the threats? Did he orchestrate Ty's death and now want Amy's silence too? This revelation changes the game. Because if Amy is right, then she's not just fighting for herself. She's fighting for justice, for Ty, for Lindy, and for everyone who was left in the dark. As this deadly game unfolds, fans are left with one terrifying question. Will Amy survive long enough to expose the truth? Or is this truly the end of Amy Fleming, the brave, horse-whispering heart of Heartland? Amy couldn't sleep. Every creak of the floorboards, every howl of the wind outside the barn felt like a warning. The threat wasn't just real. It was personal, and it was closing in. But even as fear wrapped itself around her like a vice, Amy's resolve hardened. She wouldn't run. She wouldn't abandon the ranch, or her family, or the legacy she and Ty had built together. If someone wanted to destroy Heartland, they'd have to go through her first. But what she didn't expect was that the most dangerous enemy was already inside the gates. It all started when Amy noticed strange behavior from someone she trusted. Cooper Hughes, the calm, steady presence who had helped the family build the horse therapy center. Lately, Cooper had been distant, distracted, always stepping out to take mysterious calls, or disappearing when things got tense. Amy brushed it off at first. Everyone was on edge. But then came the lie. Cooper told Amy he had gone to the city for supplies, but Jack saw his truck parked by the old Dempsey cabin, deep in the woods. When Amy confronted him, he stumbled through an excuse, eyes twitching with guilt. That's when she knew. Cooper was hiding something connected to Ty, and possibly something deadly. Fueled by rage and heartbreak, Amy followed Cooper the next night. She trailed him under the cover of darkness, heart pounding, until she stumbled on a secret meeting. Two men in the shadows, exchanging something. A file. Amy couldn't hear their words, but she recognized the name on the folder. Mr. Borden. Ty's mother. And suddenly, everything clicked into place. Ty's death wasn't just about something he knew, it was about something he inherited. Something buried so deep in his family's past that even Amy had never heard of it. And now, someone wanted it buried for good, along with Amy. But before Amy could act, they saw her. The chase through the forest was brutal. Amy's boots pounded the earth as branches sliced at her skin and panic seized her lungs. She knew these woods, but they knew she was alone. Just as one of the men lunged at her, she kicked a fallen tree branch, knocking him back long enough to escape. She didn't stop running until she reached the barn. But it was too late. The danger had followed her home. The next morning, the ranch woke up to horror. The fences had been cut, 2 horses were missing, and a message was left behind, burned into the side of the barn with fire-blackened wood. "Stop digging, or you're next." The family was shaken. Jack was furious. Lou was terrified. And Lindy, sweet, innocent Lindy, started having nightmares about bad men taking Mommy away. Amy tried to stay strong, but the fear was eating her alive. Then came the worst betrayal of all. Amy finally confronted Cooper, demanding the truth. And he broke. Cooper confessed he had once been approached by Victor, the same man tied to Ty's past. At the time, Cooper was drowning in debt and had agreed to pass on information about Ty's work in exchange for cash. He didn't know it would get Ty killed. And when Amy started asking questions, Victor reached out again, this time threatening to destroy everything unless Cooper helped keep her quiet. Cooper swore he didn't know they'd go this far. But Amy didn't care. She had trusted him, and he had handed her husband's killer the key to her life. With that, Amy knew what she had to do. She took Lindy to Lou's house for safety, kissed her daughter goodbye with tears in her eyes, and returned to the ranch alone. She was done running, done hiding. She would confront Victor herself. Jack begged her not to. Tim offered to go in her place, but Amy's voice never shook when she said, "This ends with me." She saddled up Spartan, the horse who had carried her through every storm, and rode into the hills toward the old Dempsey cabin, toward danger. What happens next has shattered the fandom. The trailer shows fragments, enough to cause panic. Amy in a standoff, a gunshot ringing out, blood soaking into the snow, and then silence. Jack screaming Amy's name, Lou collapsing in tears, and Lindy holding her mother's scarf, whispering, "Come home, Mommy." Fans are heartbroken, terrified, and furious all at once. Is this really the end of Amy Fleming? Has Heartland gone too far? Or is there one last twist waiting in the shadows? Did Amy sacrifice herself to finally bring peace to Heartland? Or is this all part of a deeper plan? One final ride to expose the truth and save her family once and for all. The snow hadn't yet melted where Amy's blood had stained the ground. That patch of frozen earth became sacred, a symbol of sacrifice, strength, and unanswered questions. Jack stood at the edge of the trees every morning, scanning the horizon, hoping for a miracle. Lou threw herself into protecting Lindy, desperate to hold on to the only part of Amy still with them. But what haunted everyone most wasn't Amy's disappearance. It was the silence that followed. No body, no proof. Just one question tearing the family apart. Is Amy dead? Or is she being held somewhere against her will? The RCMP launched a full investigation, but with few leads and even fewer willing to talk, it stalled. Jack knew they were missing something critical, something buried in the past that no one wanted uncovered. That's when he remembered Ty's old journal, locked in the attic, untouched since his death. Covered in dust and memories, the leather-bound book became the key. In its final pages, Ty wrote about a meeting with someone he didn't trust, someone tied to a family secret involving government land, corrupt developers, and a scandal that could destroy lives. He feared for Amy even then. He begged her, in those pages, to walk away if things got dangerous. But Amy never did what she was told when it came to protecting her family. Driven by grief and fire, Jack pieced it all together. The land Heartland sat on wasn't just valuable, it was cursed by politics and greed. Decades ago, Ty's father had uncovered illegal deals between ranchers, politicians, and a mysterious private group called the Ridgeline Corporation. Victor was just a puppet. The real threat was the organization pulling the strings. Men in suits with no names and no conscience, they'd orchestrated everything, from Ty's murder to the attack on Amy. And now they were cleaning up the last of their mess. But Jack had no intention of letting them get away with it. Meanwhile, Lou discovered something shocking. While reviewing Amy's bank activity in hopes of tracing her last steps, she found an encrypted payment, marked only with the name Asher, the same name Ty had circled in his journal months before his death. Lou traced it to a remote property north of Calgary. It was off the grid, registered under a shell company. She brought it to the authorities, but they refused to act without more evidence. So Lou took matters into her own hands. With Tim and Caleb, she formed a plan to infiltrate the location, rescue Amy if she was alive, or find her body and bring her home. They geared up, hearts pounding, minds racing with what they might find. The journey was treacherous, the snow thick and unforgiving. But they made it to the edge of the compound, and what they saw chilled them to the bone. Cameras, guards, barbed wire, and in the center of it all, a stable. Lou gasped, because in the corner, she saw a horse she recognized. Spartan, covered in mud, bruised, but alive. And if Spartan was there, Amy had to be close. Suddenly, everything exploded into chaos. A flare went up. Tim shouted for Lou to run. Gunshots echoed through the woods. But before they fled, Lou snapped a photo, clear enough to prove the place existed, enough to force the RCMP to act. Back at Heartland, the fallout was immediate. The media swarmed, protesters lined the roads, fans across the world rallied behind the hashtag Save Amy Fleming, demanding answers. And when the government finally raided the compound, they found the impossible. Amy's scarf, her boots, blood-stained rope. No body, but undeniable proof that Amy had been there, and she had fought. But what came next shook Heartland even more. A letter arrived addressed to Jack, sealed in an envelope with no return address. Inside was a single sheet of paper written in Amy's handwriting. It read, "If you're reading this, I'm still alive, but I'm not safe yet. Don't come looking for me. Protect Lindy. I will find my way home." Tears streamed down Jack's face. Lou collapsed, and across Canada, fans broke down in disbelief Amy Fleming was alive, but she was running out of time. Who's helping her? What secrets does she still carry? And will she make it back to Heartland before it's too late? The air around Heartland had changed. It was heavier, colder, even as spring crept in. Every sunrise brought more questions, more desperation, and more fear that Amy Fleming might never return. But just as the darkness began to feel permanent, something shifted. A mysterious phone call came to Jack's landline, crackling with static. A woman's voice whispered just 2 words. "She's coming." Then the line went dead. Jack didn't know if it was a threat or a promise, but deep down, he believed it. Amy was still alive, and she was coming home. The question was, in what condition? Lou kept fighting to hold the family together, even as the pressure nearly broke her. Media hounded her every move. Tabloids speculated on Amy's death, and Heartland itself was under investigation. Rumors spread that the ranch might be seized, tied to the criminal web uncovered during the Ridgeline Corporation probe. But Lou refused to give in. She stood her ground, staring down politicians, reporters, and private agents alike. This land, she said, is protected by the blood, sweat, and tears of Amy Fleming, and she is not done fighting. Then came the breakthrough. A drone, launched by a group of vigilante activists who'd taken up Amy's cause online, caught footage of a woman on horseback deep in the northern Alberta woods. The footage was blurry, but unmistakable. It was Amy, alone, injured, and being chased. The video went viral within minutes. The world held its breath. Heartland mobilized. Jack, Lou, Tim, even Caleb. Everyone prepared for the worst and hoped for the best. Emergency crews joined in. A massive search was launched. Every trail, river, and mountain pass combed. And then, on a foggy morning, just before dawn, Spartan emerged from the trees, covered in cuts, barely able to walk. But he wasn't alone. Amy was slumped over the saddle, unconscious, bleeding, but alive. The ranch exploded into chaos and relief. Doctors rushed in. Lou collapsed into tears. Jack held Amy's hand like it was the last piece of the world he still trusted. And Lindy, sweet, brave Lindy, just whispered, "I knew you'd come back, Mommy." But the scars Amy carried weren't just physical. She was broken, fragile, and different. Her eyes had seen horrors she couldn't yet speak of. She'd been held in a hidden facility, drugged, interrogated, and forced to sign documents relinquishing rights to Heartland's land. She'd refused, she fought, and she escaped. Barely. Her captors? Still out there, powerful, angry, and looking for revenge. As Amy recovered, one truth became clear. This wasn't the end of the battle. It was only the beginning. The family vowed never to let this happen again. They armed themselves with lawyers, allies, and fire in their hearts. And Amy, though shaken, promised one thing. They came for my land, my family, and my soul. They got none of it. And they never will. Heartland may never be the same again. The scars will remain. The danger still lurks. But the spirit that built it, Amy's spirit, burns brighter than ever. And as the season closes, one final image remains. Amy, standing alone in the pasture, wind in her hair, eyes fierce, whispering to Spartan, "We're home." But the silence that follows leaves one question echoing in fans' hearts across the world. Is Heartland truly safe, or is the darkest chapter still to come? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe our channel for more updates. Thank